It's been almost a whole year since the Super Mario Bros. Movie came out, and just a couple days ago, they announced that they're officially doing the second one, which was pretty obvious for anybody who knows anything about what gets somebody to make, a sequel to something. But with it officially announced, we do have a little bit more information, not really much at all to go off of, but just a tiny bit that can kind of let us be able to just get some ideas of the direction they're going. And I have some predictions on things that I, would like to see, I think might happen, and some things that I'm hearing people say online that they think will happen that I really just am not going to expect to see at all. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing that is definitely going to be in the movie is Yoshi, right? They tease it at the end of the first movie, and some things to remember about where it's getting teased, right? The Yoshi egg is in Brooklyn. So I do think Yoshi is going to be spending a lot of time in Brooklyn. I think that Yoshi is going to be the minion type character of this movie, and I think that Yoshi is going to be baby Yoshi for a majority of the film as well. Maybe Yoshi is going to hang out with Mario's mom. Maybe that's going to be the team up. No one's going to expect it, but she's always going to be cooking, and it's going to be just eating up everything. And I think Yoshi could show up as like the Deus Ex Machina at the end, like, oh no, they're in a bad spot, and Yoshi shows up and is able to help them stop Bowser. That goes into the second thing that I do believe is going to happen, and that is that Bowser is still going to be the bad guy. I've seen some people throwing around that they think Wart is going to be the bad guy, the bad guy from the American released Super Mario Bros. 2. I just don't see that happening. We don't see Wart like really showing up in any Mario stuff ever. He's not in Mario Kart. He's not in Mario Party. He's not Mario Tennis. This guy is just not a part of it, and it's because we have the Mario 2 that's here in the US. If you don't know, but you probably know if you're watching this video, but if you don't know, is not the regular Super Mario Bros. 2. In Japan they released Super Mario Bros. 2. We call that one the Lost Levels because Japan was like, this is going to be too hard for them, so let's just take this other game and let's reskin it and throw it out there. And so that's why there's a bunch of new enemies in there, some of which have been adopted into like the Mario canon. Shy Guy comes from there, Birdo comes from there, and so there's some stuff in there, but Wart, not so much. And I don't want Wart to be like this new big bad thing where the princess and Mario and Luigi have to go to Bowser and be like, you have to help us. It's fine if that happens eventually. I don't think movie 2 is where you get into that kind of stuff, right? Maybe, I'm happy to be wrong about any of these predictions as long as the movie is good. But I do think that Bowser has a way more potential as a bad guy. And I don't want any kind of redemption arc. I mean, maybe they go to him, it's like a Gollum situation. It's like, oh yeah, he's going to help us out. But really, is he helping us out? Is he just playing until we can get what he wants from us? Also tying into Bowser, something else I don't think that we're going to see is going to be the Koopalings. I don't really see a ton of people online talking about this, but I think it's just going to be introducing way too many characters. And there's already a big cast in this thing, right? And you got to cast every single one of those guys. It's getting kind of crowded. Plus, if you want to do Bowser Jr. later on down the line, having the Koopalings kind of exist, it almost makes him feel, redundant. Like, and Nintendo definitely likes Bowser Jr. He's everywhere. He's at, Nintendo Land at Universal Studios. He's a big part of everything that goes on there. So I definitely could see them introducing him in a later movie. I don't know if it'll be quite this early. Really, it would be curious to see how they're going to introduce him. Since his origin in the game series, it's just kind of weird, with him thinking that he's Princess Peach's child.
I won't let you take Mama Peach away! Mama Peach? I'm your mama?
But either way, his eventual introduction, I think, really does kind of eliminate those Koopalings from showing up, at least now. Maybe later on down the line. Again, this series is probably going to go on forever. I mean, we got 4 Despicable Me movies with the one that's coming out later this year. I would expect nothing less when it comes to Mario, when it comes to the longevity of this series. Something that I think we will see, but I don't think it's going to be as big as it was in the first one, is the Kongs as well. I think they'll be toned down. It'll be more of a kind of a cameo situation. I'm going to set them up for their own movie, right? I'd be happy with that. They've already established them as characters. It makes a lot more sense than like kind of diving into some of the other Nintendo properties. You've already got them established in there. Get some King K. Rool in there. That'd be awesome. It's just another villain that we could have elevated to that same level as Jack Black's Bowser. It'd be a lot of fun. Okay, so those are some things that I don't think we're going to see in the movie. But what about the stuff that I do think we're going to see in the movie? Well, for starters, I think that Bowser's going to escape pretty early, obviously, and I think Kamek's going to be involved with that. As far as I remember, like, Kamek is not captured or anything. We just have Bowser in that cage, and so, Kamek's a super powerful wizard, right? Taking out entire armies in that first Super Mario Bros. Movie. So, yeah, I don't see any reason why he can't be involved in some kind of an escape. One thing that I really do think we could see in this would be Wario and Waluigi. I think story-wise, there's pretty easy ways to get into it. Here's my pitch. Imagine that, Wario and Waluigi, like in a flashback to the big battle in Brooklyn, they find a giant golden coin and they're like, holy cow, this thing is awesome. And they'd probably be like, wah. And so, with this giant coin, and they'd be like, oh, this got to exist more. They would want to be, getting into that. Obviously, it's getting into the greed. Wario and Waluigi are very greedy characters. It's got to be there. But I like the idea of, Bowser recruiting 2 humans to be on his team because he saw how effective they were, at stopping him in the first one. So, like, Peach has her own humans. He's got to get his own to kind of compete with that. So that can explain why they're in clothes that look very similar to Mario and Luigi's clothes. He can be just kind of bribing them with like, hey, you can have as many gold coins as you want. Once I get what I want, Princess Peach in the Mushroom Kingdom. I imagine Wario and Waluigi kind of like as like a Rocksteady and Bebop to Bowser. I think that could be a fun energy. But then also then you can have them kind of come around and not be good at the end of the movie, but, not be on Team Bowser anymore at least. I think the movie's going to go more into the Peach origins as well because of, them teasing that out in the first one a little bit. I don't think we're going to be getting too heavy into it. Maybe we'll get a Daisy introduction and they'll be somehow like intertwined with each other. I'm pretty interested in seeing that. One thing that Miyamoto mentions specifically in the video where they're announcing that they're going to be doing this movie, he talks about new environments. And in that, I have a couple different ideas on what I think they're talking about, right? I think that obviously we're going to be going to Dinosaur Land, just like from Super Mario World. It's the natural progression, like the actual, natural one when you're leaving the Mushroom Kingdom from like Super Mario and Super Mario 3. Dinosaur Land, where Yoshi comes from, also plays into that. Another new environment is, I think we're going to really get some heavy teases to like Luigi's Mansion stuff. Professor Egad maybe even showing up. Feels like it might be a little bit early, but I wouldn't be surprised. An environment I definitely don't think we're going to see yet is like space. I don't think we're going galaxy yet. Save it. Get to movie 3, right? It's hard to come back from something like that big. So let's just pump the brakes a little bit. Let's go see some dinosaurs. Let's do some of that stuff. Though, going to Dinosaur Land does almost feel like the Koopalings are going to be more involved. I definitely could be wrong about that. No Koopalings prediction. It does give you another chance to really kind of like put in a bunch of celebrities, which is, with the animated movies, something that they want to do. Awkwafina obviously would be one of them. And she gets ragged on too much, but she is in everything. So, there's definitely room for her. I got one more prediction, and it's one that the internet's not going to like, but there's definitely going to be a lot more pop songs in this one. Maybe not more than were in the first one, but there's going to be more of them introduced. Which, I don't know, I'm of two minds when it comes to that. For starters, it'd be nice to have more score, but we've got plenty of score, and it's all great. But when it comes to like having those songs be introduced, and I know that they get overplayed and it's not like super obscure needle drops, but it's introducing kids to like these fun songs, right? And I'm kind of okay with that. Like me and my little 4-year-old, we listen to Holding Out for a Hero all the time because it's a Mario song. And guys, that song's great. And then there's the people who be like, oh yeah, but it's in Shrek 2. And it's like, no, it's from Footloose. We do this. It's just generation after generation after generation. Personally, my favorite use of it in media is in the Detective Pikachu trailer. Not all of the uses of these songs were really good, and I bet it will be the same in the next one. But that's all right. The internet's got to complain about something. And if it's just complaining about the fact that they're dropping some of these songs into the movie, that's not too bad. And so those are some predictions and thoughts on Super Mario Bros. The movie 2, which I wonder if that's what they'll call it, or if they'll shorten it a bit, because the Super Mario Bros. Movie is already a pretty long title. But anyway, those are some of my thoughts. What are you expecting to see in the sequel? What do you think I'm wrong about? Anything in here that just kind of is like, no way that's going to happen? Let me know. Happy to talk about it in the comments.